Hello everyone, I am your friend Shadab Imam and today I brings you an amazing problem of network construction, and this will clear all your doubts regarding the network construction. So please watch this video till the end, and if you are new to the channel, please subscribe the channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon. So let's quickly move on to the problem, and here we need to construct a network diagram from the given table, and these are the activities and this is the precedence relationship. So as we have studied in the rules for network diagram, we need to see first the unpreceded activities. So there are three unpreceded activities A, B and C, and this A, B and C activities can be started from a single node, that is the starting node. So let us start here. This is activity A, this is activity B, and this is activity C. Now let us now move on to the activity E. Activity E has been preceded by activity A, that means the node where activity A ends, activity E starts. So this is activity E, and now activity F is preceded by activity A and B both. So generally what we do is we will end this activity here at this particular node, and we will draw a dummy activity towards this activity B. This is DM1, first dummy activity, and at this particular node, through this dummy activity, the dependency of A can be shown at this particular node. So at this particular node, activity A is completed as well as activity B is completed. Now activity F can be drawn from here. So this is activity F. Now let us move on to activity G. Now for activity G, it is preceded by B and C. Now what happens here, if I draw a node here and draw a dummy activity, so that at this point of time, that means at this node, the activity activity B and activity C is completed. But what happening here is, this new dummy activity shows the dependency of A and B both at this point of time. So whatever activity we are starting from here, let us see if we are starting activity G. So if we start activity G from here, what it will suggest, that activity G is preceded by activity C, activity B and activity A, which is not given here. So it has been given in the question that activity G is preceded by B and C only and not activity A, because at this node it is showing that activity A and activity B and activity C are completed at this point, or we can say G is preceded by A, B and C. So ultimately this solution will become wrong, or this type of precedence relationship will become wrong, because in this particular solution there is a logical error from which this has to be removed. Now what we can do in order to remove this, so let us again construct this, and let us again see activity A, activity B and activity C is starting from the same node, that is the starting node. Now activity E depends on A only, so we can see that activity E depends on A only. So this is activity E which depends on activity A only. Now as we move downwards, we can see that F depends on B and C, and G depends on F depends on A and B, and G depends on B and C. So B is in combination with A as well as with C. That means we just cannot draw a dummy activity towards B. Instead of that, what we need to do is we will make an event here which shows that activity B is completed here. And now in order to show precedence with A and with C separately, we will draw a dummy activity towards another node, this node. This is dummy activity dm1, this is dummy activity dm2. Now at this particular point or at this node, activity A is completed as well as activity B is completed. So we can start activity F, which is preceded by A and B. So activity F has been started. Now let us have a look again. Activity G is preceded by B and C, whereas and activity H is preceded by C only. So now C alone has H and B and C together has activity G. Now in order to do this, we will end this activity C here, and we can see that H depends on C only. Because H depends on C only, we can take activity H from here. That means activity H depends on activity C only, but in order to draw activity G, which is preceded by B and C both, again we will draw a different node and draw two dummy activities towards this. This is dummy activity 3, this is dummy activity 4. Now at this point or at this node, activity B is completed and activity C is completed, and there is no other activity as in the previous case. In the previous case, at this particular node, it is showing dependency of B, C and A, where at this particular node it is showing dependency of B and C only. So as we know that activity G is preceded by B and C only, we can start activity G from here. This is activity G. Now let us move on further. Activity I is preceded by E and F. So what we will do is we will converge activity E and F to a single node, and at this node activity E and activity F are completed. So activity I can be started from this particular node. Now let us move further. Activity J is preceded by G and H, whereas activity K is preceded by H only. So H is coming with G as well as H alone. So in order to do this, to draw this, first of all we will terminate the activity H, and from this node we will draw the activity K, because activity K depends on activity H only. Now in order to draw activity J, which is preceded by G and H, then we will draw a dummy activity towards another node. So this is dummy activity 5 dm5. Now at this node it is clear that activity G is completed as well as activity H is completed from this node. So activity J can be drawn from here. So we will draw activity J from here, which is preceded by G and H only. So we can see that it is preceded by G, and through dummy activity we are showing precedence of activity H. Now as all the activities are completed, we will see what are the open activities. So I, J and K are the open activities. So we will converge these open activities to a single node. This is a single node, and all these activities are converged converged at this node. So this will be the terminal node or finishing node here, and now our network has been completed. Now let us start numbering these networks, numbering these events. So first of all, we will make initial event as number 1, where we do not have any incoming arrow, we only have outgoing arrow. Now after labeling this as 1, we will delete all the arrows coming out from this node. So A, B, C are deleted, and as a result 3 new initial events are made. So for these 3 new initial events, we will number this as 2, 3 and 4. And now again we will delete all the outgoing arrows from the numbered event. That means from 1, 2, 3 and 4, all the outgoing arrows are deleted, and because of that we will have these new initial events. So again this will be 5, this will be 6, this will be 7. Again we will delete all the outgoing arrows from the numbered event. So these two will become the initial event. So this will be 8, this will be 9, and this will be 10, because this is the final or the terminal node where all the activities are incoming activities and no activity is going out. So now let us understand why it has been happened in this way, and how do we realize that we need to apply a dummy activity here. So in the table we can see we have E preceded by A and F preceded by A and B. Because there is A alone and A is with B also, that means we are definitely going to use a dummy activity here. So we can see that E has been preceded by A only and F has been preceded by A and B both. As a result, we need to use a dummy here. Similarly, if we can see F and G, F is preceded by AB and G is preceded by BC. That means again we need to use dummy activities to fulfill this. So these are the 2 dummy activities, B with A and B with C. So 2 dummy activities are used here. Similarly, we can see that for activity G and activity H, we have BC and C alone. So here also we will have, for C alone we will have activity H, and to show dependency with B and C, we again have used this dummy activity here. Now as we move further, the last 2 activities we can see that J is preceded by G and H and K is preceded by H only. So here there are 2 H, first H is alone and H with G. So surely here also there will be 1 dummy activity. So we can see here after completing H, K activity has been started, and to show the dependency of H with G, we again need to have a dummy activity so that activity J can be drawn. So it has been very clear that whenever we have different precedence of same value of same activity, that is A and AB, or we can say AB and BC, or we can see BC and C, or we can see GH and H. In these cases, it is almost definite that we need to use a dummy activity to show the correct precedence. So this is how we can identify from the table that where we need to draw the dummy activities and follow the precedence. So hope you like this lecture. If you like the lecture, please share the lecture. Have a nice day. Thank you.